Hi Simon, this is what's in my bag.
Hey Simon, it's Kevin down here in Florida. Saw your What's in the Bag video. Figured I would share mine and get your thoughts.
Hi Simon, hope you're well. I'm a higher handicap golfer, shoot around about 90 to 95. Cost about 50p a ball that way. Just didn't know what your thoughts were on that. I'm going to eBay and getting late balls, trying to save a bit of money. But any advice would be great. Nice one mate, cheers.
Guys, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new video. It's Simon here and we're going to do another what's in your bag. Now I'm conscious we've done a lot of what's in your bags. You guys do seem to be enjoying it. I imagine it's not everyone's cup of tea. This content will diversify as we obviously get outside of lockdown. That being said, I thought what's in your bag I'm going to do like in real life. So I'll go and come to your golf club, come to your driving range, wherever, and I'll go through the bag with you. We'll watch you hit it, and then I'll advise you on second-hand clubs to obviously put in the bag, or bargains, etc, etc, which I think would be a really cool concept and idea for the video, going outside of lockdown. So we're kind of keeping the what's in your bag, however we're going to make it more personal and a lot more accurate, because obviously if I see your swing, you hit balls, I can give you much better advice. But I appreciate all the support in this series. I know it can be monotonous for a lot of you that are probably new to the game or love buying second-hand clubs. I imagine this is great content, but obviously trying to please everyone is always going to be a challenge. That being said, I love this video that I'm about to go into. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, subscribing if you are new, let's just get straight into it. Okay, first up is Kevin. Now Kevin's looking for a 5-wood between to fill his gap between driver and hybrid. Now Kevin hasn't given me his handicap, and he hasn't given me his yardages, which for me makes it very difficult to give him a great suggestion and advice on what to fill the gap with. That being said, we can look at his bag and we can make some kind of assumptions. Now, he's got pretty much brand new everything, but he's got some great deals. And I want to talk about PXG. So let's just get straight into his bag. Now, first of all, great looking bag. Spent a lot of money. Don't get me wrong, he's got discount, he's got deals. I'm doing a talk about PXG irons in terms of military discount, but he spent a lot of money. A lot more than the majority of people that we've seen in this series. That being said, I do want to point out the good things. Number one, PXG 400 driver, best driver I've fitted for ever. In terms of the shaft options, for your average golfer, forgiving head. If you came to me and went, Simon, I want to be fitted for a PXG 400, I'll go, oh thank God, I can fit anyone into the PXG 400, whether you need the low spin head, the max version, X stiff shaft, soft regular, whatever. So PXG 400, if you want to spend a bit of money, because they are still continuing I think into this year as well, they're going to hold their price for a while, and Ping drivers hold their price, especially the G series if you want to get something a bit cheaper. But I love Ping drivers, I love to fit for Ping drivers, etc, etc. It's got the Scotty Cameron special select there as well, which you've got $299. I don't know how you got it at a discount already, because I think they've only just come out, but again it's still a lot of money. I hope you got fitted for that putter. And all these clubs, like if you buy a club brand new, like say the M6 or whatever, say the Sim Max came out from TaylorMade and you bought it online, just unsubscribe and just leave the channel. Like if you buy a brand new club and you don't get fitted for it, because you're going to get fitted for it free, you're just being lazy, go and get fitted. If you're going to buy a brand new club, please get fitted for it, otherwise get out, because it's just no point. The tech's not changed, so the only thing that changes is your swing and the combination between loft and shaft. So if you haven't got fitted and you just bought brand new, get out. I love that. Again, you know my thoughts about expensive putters. If you're practicing, you've been fitted for it, I love it. I think it's I love the head cover. I haven't even seen the head cover on the special selects yet. I think it's great. PXG. Now, let's have a chat, because a lot of you are probably thinking, Simon, go in. PXG, so expensive, stupid amount of money, etc, etc. In part, I would agree. In part, I don't. Kevin's obviously in the military. They do a fantastic military discount. There's no question. And for the fitting process from PXG, second to none. I've said this before. The boys that get to become a PXG fitter are not just your run-in-the-mill, like shop assistant, been playing golf 2 years, did their PGA degree, or even started it and now giving you club advice. Like, it's taken me 5 to 6 years of club fitting myself to get to a point where actually I'm quite comfortable in fitting someone. Unfortunately, my first year or two, I probably gave horrendous advice at club fitting. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. Exactly the same as when you become assistant and you give your first lessons. I look back on my first lessons, I'm like, what are you doing? Same with club fitting. To become a PXG club fitter, you have to know everything. No stone unturned, the amount of shaft options, the amount of head options, the swing weighting, there's no tolerances. It is going to be the best club fitting, the majority, unless you're a tour pro, the best club fitting you can get. Now, for $150 a stick, which is what Kevin has paid, I say that's worth it, because when you trade it against $150 a stick against Callaway or Ping or TaylorMade, where there's limited shafts, the person that's giving you the fitting probably isn't anywhere near as good as standard. They might be on commission as well, etc, etc. Therefore, if I had to weigh up, if money wasn't an object, and I've had to weigh up getting fitted between PXG and a normal brand by a PXG fitter for the average golfer, go down PXG. But money is an object. Therefore, $400 for the average golfer is an exceptional amount of money, to the point that the advancements that you're going to get in a club fit aren't worth another $250 per stick. The technology in the head is no different to every other club out there that I've tested. What you got to remember is there's so many factors in terms of an iron head that realistically, where is the tech coming from? Like, if it goes a million miles, and that's stupid, I don't want it to go a million miles, I want a wedge that goes 100 yards on the dot. So when you factor in dispersion, everything else, $400 a stick is an exceptional amount of money, and there's just no value I see between that and getting fitted normally by your assistant or your genuine club fitter at £150 a stick normally. Military discount, highly advised, because it's just, the fitting process is so good. The other question is, how good is the fitting process for the average golfer? And obviously this is what this channel is built around. Realistically, you have to be playing golf for 5 years and 8 handicap, 10 handicap and below. Fitting process is going to make a massive difference. Otherwise you haven't practiced enough. You can get down to 10 with the good flexibility, strength, everything else, just through hard work, grit, determination, practice, and my channel, to fit yourself second hand. When you get to there, 10 and below, fitting, potential, there's going to be some kind of difference. How big that difference is, weighing out the cost, that's something you have to then decide yourself. But my point is, PXG, the fitting process against every other fitting process, I'm talking, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some places that give class fittings, by the way, and there's going to be some golf clubs and some pros that you go, oh, my pro Mark gives unbelievable, and I'm sure he does, but I'm talking across the whole entire world. If you went to every PXG fitting and you went to every club fitting around the world, there's going to be a massive gap between the service of the PXG fit and everything else. Does it warrant a $400 price tag per iron? No, there's just not that much. There's just not that much difference for your average golfer. That's my thought on PXG. RTX wedges at the bottom end of the bag, I love. He got them at $49 at Walmart per club. He's bought like 6 of them, so he's now sorted for years on wedges, which I highly admire, and I think that's a great decision, because wedges, again, they've got good grooves, good lofts and bounce for you, perfect. Now he's got the 913 hybrids, and his question was, if we didn't remember, because obviously I've gone on a bit now, is he wants a 5-wood to gap between his hybrid and his driver. Now I don't know his yardages, I don't know his handicap. I imagine he's low teens, single figure, looking at the bag. He's got stiff flex, he's got a Tour stiff in the Ping G400. I'd advise getting just a Tour stiff 5-wood in the Ping G400, mainly because, again, their woods are great from Ping. You've got the rest of the bag that's fantastic. Realistically, there's no point in me giving you a suggestion for anything else, because once you've got that 5-wood, your bag's complete. Kevin, don't change your bag, ever. Your bag looks fantastic. I don't know your yardages, so if you're, what I don't want you to do is get a 5 wood from Ping G400, and it goes exactly the same yardage as your 21 degree forward with this 913. Potentially, if it does, but you like the 5 wood better, throw out the Titleist 913 and just keep that. Maybe add another wedge to the bag, etc, etc. But overall, without knowing your yardage or handicap, I can't really give you much more advice. I think the bag looks great, and hopefully I've made it clear about PXG as a brand. Okay, next one's from Mike Morris. Now, actually, this is a very interesting bag, and hopefully it's going to help a lot of you guys actually watching this. Now, he's been playing on and off for 5 years, mid-30s in terms of his age. He shoots around 90-95, dropping down to the 80s every so often, and he's improving. Interesting bag. Let's have a look. I have actually muted him. He does a great little commentary and gives me some good information. Now, things to note. Loves his Odyssey putter. I'm just going to let it play through. That's not going anywhere. Now, this 50-degree gap wedge. He's got all these wedges, for example. I think he got all the wedges for £100, all 3 of them. Now, that being said, one of them you can see there is like a fitting wedge. It's got the little adapter. He actually comes back to it. He's got the little adapter at the top there, and his question was, he doesn't know if that makes any difference at all. Now, in terms of performance, I can't imagine that makes much difference, because the idea of a fitting club is it's got to be as close to the real thing as possible. Obviously, as a fitter, they can change shafts, change heads, therefore get a great combination in terms of fitting. So, in terms of the actual 50-degree wedge, no, I don't think it makes a difference. My only thing is after a good amount of usage, that head there, or that screw can come loose. I've seen it happen. I've seen it more often with the 7 irons, for example, that you get a demo fitting gear. So that might come loose, and unfortunately, if that screw comes loose, there's not really much you can do about it. That being said, you could probably get a similar wedge fixed 50-degree for about £30 off eBay regardless. So no, I don't think that makes much difference in performance. Speed blades, good, forgiving, cavities back iron from TaylorMade in terms of cast iron. Again, you're going to be able to pick these up quite cheap now. I imagine probably about £190 to £200 per club. He had a good question about this. I imagine a lot of you have probably got this on your clubs, for example. Let me just pause it. There. So see there, the ferrule and the shaft is actually come away. It would really help if the play button wasn't over it, but hopefully you can see that. If you grab the grip and you grab the head and you twist it as hard as you humanly possibly can and it doesn't move, the ferrule's moved. Basically, the ferrule's moved up the shaft, which basically you can hold that ferrule over the kettle for like 30 seconds whilst it's steaming, and you can push that ferrule back down. It's there for cosmetic purposes only, or aesthetic purposes only, so don't worry. If the head moves, take it off. You'll be able to, basically, if it doesn't come off, like if you wiggle it and it doesn't come off, don't do this with graphite, by the way. Probably shouldn't be doing club repair advice now. I'm going to break everyone's clubs when you take my advice. You say, do this. Don't do it with graphite. If it's steel, you could probably twist it off. Probably needs a lot of heat, probably a heat gun. My advice is take it to your pro. It'd take him 5 minutes to heat gun, araldite, whack it back on. It'll probably charge you a £5 for his time. But obviously if it's moving, you'll probably hear it clicking and the head will come off freely. Don't do it with graphite, don't twist graphite ever, because you're going to break the shaft. With steel, obviously, there's less things that can go wrong unless it's rusted underneath there. I highly doubt that. Just take it to your pro. But if you want to do it yourself, heat gun, it'll come off. You'll need to get your Stanley knife, clean off all the excess glue, clean out the head, araldite it, take it to your pro. Anyway, I imagine that's a ferrule. I digress. I love going on, I love rambling on. Anyway, so his 4 irons his favourite club. It's his go-to, he hits it 200 yards off the tee, but he struggles with the woods up the bag here. Now, he's bought Adams woods, which are great value woods, by the way. Adams make great woods, but he doesn't get on with them. And I always go on about this, the ball doesn't know what it's been hit by. So the 19-degree and 3 hybrid goes the same distance as the 4, which to me suggests this. And it probably also, because I don't know your bad shot, I don't know your swing in terms of good shot or your numbers, but the 4 iron is probably spinning the ball enough that you're getting the optimum amount of flight. That's why you like your 4 iron. Therefore, the 3 hybrid and the other hybrid, Adams have got very small heads, which means that they launch the ball quite low for a hybrid, which makes a big difference, by the way. Therefore, you probably need more launch. You probably need more launch at the top end of the bag. Therefore, I'd probably take out those hybrids and put woods in there. You could probably get away with a 3 wood and a 5 wood. That's going to launch the ball higher. It's going to give you more forgiveness, especially for your handicap. And I'd probably just keep one of the hybrids in for future. But you're getting better, potentially have a lesson. I imagine you're launching the ball too low and spinning it too low at the moment. That's why both the hybrids are obsolete and you don't get on with them. This driver, by the way, is bad boy. I didn't realise the F6 came in white. How good does that look, by the way? I'm going to find out what the price is at because that just looks sexual. But again, you don't get on with it. I imagine you're coming steep on the ball. I imagine coming down. You're launching the ball too low. You probably need more loft. But realistically, with the driver, for where you are in the grand scheme of your handicap and getting better, group lesson, you probably need to hit up on your driver more. Haven't seen you swing, but I imagine that's probably the common case if you're struggling with your hybrids and your driver and not getting the most out of them, if that makes sense. Overall, I think the bag looks great. In terms of what woods you should put in there, you could go Titleist 913, 915 in terms of 3 wood and 5 wood. You could go Ping G30, G25. You could go Callaway. Could you go Callaway? No, you just want something a bit more high launching. So you could even go Cobra. You could go Cobra and go F6 and get 2 woods. Again, I'd get stiff because you're getting obviously better and faster. Don't bother with regular. But overall, I think it's probably a technique issue more than anything. But anyway, I hope that helped, mate. Let's get into the next one. Okay, so the next bag's from No Feet Im, and I hope I pronounced your name right, mate. I can always tell, like, I don't think he said in his email what he plays off. But I can always tell by looking at someone's bag if they're a good player or not, because it's not necessarily the brand new stuff, but it's kind of where you spend the money on and how you build your bag. It just shows experience. So the fact that he's named what head covers he's got on his woods, for example, and on his putter, when you spend money on head covers, that's when I know you're a good player. But also the bag helps. So his question is, should he get a 5 wood or a driving iron to replace his 2 iron at the top end of the bag, because he doesn't play enough at the moment to warrant having this bladed 2 iron that he's got. So let's have a look at his bag. It looks great, by the way, just generally. So he's got the M2, love-hating relationship, he says, with it, in terms of sometimes it absolutely goes, then others doesn't get on well with. The 3 wood, this is a great shout, by the way. Now, I've just looked on eBay, because I'm not a massive, I don't know that lot about exotics, especially Tour Edge. However, they're big in America. And I've just had a look. He says this thing is his go-to, goes an absolute mile, finds the fairway. I've just looked on eBay. I'll show you some prices of these if you're interested. If you're in America, unfortunately in England, the delivery is just too much to even bother having a look at these. But he says it absolutely goes. He loves it, and I think that's a great shout for a lot of you in terms of if you're looking for something like a 3 wood and you don't want to spend a lot of money on it, but you want to absolutely rock it. He says it's fantastic, and it looks the part. Now, he's got these Mizuno Mp33 irons. Now, he's had these re-grooved and refinished, and they look incredible. Like, how good do they look? And that's how I know someone's a good player. Like, he hasn't upgraded his irons. He knows them. They work for him. Okay, the Mp33, so obviously you're going to have to be somewhat of a decent ball striker. But he had them re-grooved and refinished. Like, that is so cool. Now, something I want to get into, like if you watch my last video, I want to like flip clubs. If I can learn how to restore clubs like that, that is unbelievable. I love it. So, and then he's got this Byron putter, Byron and Morgan. I'm not, again, I haven't got a massive knowledge, but again, it's just, the whole bag just screams understated. Do you know what I mean, guys? You look at that bag, and I tell you now, like, I'm gonna, even though he only plays every now and again, I'm saying he plays off 3 or lower. Please let me know if I'm right. Because the bag just screams just class. Like, that is a sexy looking bag. Now, my advice, 5 wood or driving iron. First of all, you've got to ask yourself, what's the yardage, what's the gap, why do you want that club in your bag? Obviously, the 2 iron you've got at the moment potentially isn't as forgiving. I didn't actually see, I think you've got a TMB. is that oh no, he's got a Mizuno. So is that just an MP33? I think that's just MP33. So he's got a 2 iron in the bag, but it's not forgiving. It's a hard club to hit, there's no question. Great if you want to hit it like a stinger into a par 3, but that's pretty much it. 5-wood or driving iron. Now you could get a TMB in there, Titleist. I think that would look good in the bag. It's still going to be about 100 odd pounds. You could get a P790 UDI in there. You could also get like the like I said last time, RSR UDI if you want something cheaper. I think because you're the level that you are, I think realistically a driving iron is going to be better for you, because I can't see, like, if you're trying to find a fairway, you're going to use your 3-wood. You wouldn't use your 5-wood. And if you're trying to get into a long par 5 or hit a long par 3, you're going to be more consistent with a driving iron than you are with your 5-wood. And to be honest, for the level of clubs and everything else you've got in your bag, I imagine you're probably at a driving iron just as far as a 5-wood, because the loft and spin be too much. Maybe as you progress later in life, clubs get slower, like swing speed, driving iron comes out, then you put a 5-wood in there. But at the moment, I'd go driving iron all the way, and potentially a graphite shaft, so stiff or X-stiff graphite shaft in there. I think that'd look exceptional in the bag, and I think that'd give you more use. But all I'd say to you is just ask you a question: what do you want from the 5-wood? What do you want from the driving iron? What are you going to use it? What shots are you going to use it from? And then I think that kind of makes the choice up for you. But overall, I think the bag looks absolutely class. I love it. Thank you for sending it in. So guys, there you have it for today's video. Thank you ever so much for everyone that sent their bags in. Thank you for watching this video. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, subscribing if you are new, 30k around the corner. Catch you guys later.